What is up everybody, it's AnimeUproar here for AnimeUproar, and today I will be talking about the best villains in anime who are largely defined by their complete uselessness as actual villains. But despite sucking pretty hard at their job of being effective villains, we still can't help but love them, either because they're hilarious, because they spice up the plot, or because they have become some of the most iconic memes that anime has to offer. In this video I will be examining several such villains and why they stick with us despite being utterly useless. And if you end up enjoying this video and you want to see me make a part 2 where I talk about even more useless villains that we love, just leave a like, share the video, and give your recommendations for which other villains I should talk about down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to AnimeUproar and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future useless uploads. Oh, by the way, if you're thinking about complaining down in the comments because I included His Excellency Lord Twigo-sama Senpai Sensei in the thumbnail, just watch the video. I assure you that my knowledge of Twigo lore is beyond anything you could possibly imagine. Let's start things off with one of the most iconic villain teams in all of anime, a trio that most of us literally grew up with, and a team known the world over for their nearly complete uselessness as villains. I am of course talking about the legendary Team Rocket from Pokemon.
Allow us to introduce ourselves.
Jesse!
James.
Team Rocket! Blast off at the speed of light!
Surrender now or prepare to fight.
Meow! That's right!
And more specifically, the epic trio of Jesse, James, and Meowth. 3 villains that have been with us in the Pokemon anime since season 1. And even though they did eventually become slightly more competent as the story of the anime progressed, for a large chunk of the series, these guys have been top contenders for the title of the most useless anime villains of all time. I mean, think about it. In season 1, these guys are defeated and humiliated by a 10-year-old noob from an economic and social backwater like Pallet Town. A town so isolated and weird that the lonely people there are willing to let their 10-year-old children venture out on a long and dangerous adventure on their own just so they could become uncomfortably close with their Mr. Mime. Despite the fact that Jesse and James are both adults in their mid-20s with the resources of an entire criminal organization at their disposal, they are defeated by this 10-year-old kid from a creepy Mr. Mime-loving town and by his butthurt edgelord Pikachu. These legends of villainy then decide to spend much of their lives pursuing that same 10-year-old boy and his friends with the intent of capturing his Pikachu, because they apparently think that the Pikachu is rare and would be valuable if they could only steal it. In fact, trying to steal Pikachu and other rare Pokemon but constantly failing miserably is the trademark of this villain trio. And if you happen to be under the age of like 35, then the words Team Rocket's blasting off again probably still haunt your nightmares to this day.
Looks like Team Rocket is blasting off again!
So why has Team Rocket continued to be so iconic despite all their many failings? Other than the fact that Jessie was like my first anime waifu ever, and the fact that James is a delicious meme lord extraordinaire, Team Rocket does have its strong suits, including their ability to make an epic anime villain entrance. The lyrics of the Team Rocket intro are so iconic that they are featured on Genius.com. I kid you not, I'll link the page in the description if you want to check it out. Team Rocket also has iconic uniforms that have been a favorite of cosplayers, and you can't help but love their insanely stupid schemes on which they tend to waste an incredible amount of their organization's resources. Even if they are adults with the intelligence of a below-average Jake Pauler. Even if they were constantly defeated by a 10-year-old noob. Even though they keep looking for rare Pokemon as if they don't realize that Pikachus are not that freaking rare even if they are supercharged. And even though their rare Pokemon obsession doesn't seem to clue them into the fact that their companion is a Pokemon who is so intelligent that he was able to teach himself how to speak and walk like a human, Team Rocket still continues to have a strong cultural influence on the anime community and beyond. As useless and obnoxious as these guys are, they have blasted their way into our collective psyche, and we can't help but like Team Rocket. If for no other reason than for their endless memeability. And Jessie is still an underrated waifu, in my opinion. I mean, those leather boots though. Next up, let's talk about the most epic villain brothers in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Sure, the Darby brothers get a lot of attention because of their absolutely epic battles against Jotaro in Part 3. But not everyone understands the deep philosophy of the true stars of Part 3, the Boingo Brothers. These two absolute chads are introduced as members of Egypt's 9 glory gods, Dio's elite strike force tasked with eliminating the Crusaders before they can reach Dio. The younger brother, Boingo, has a stand that allows him to predict the future, and the older brother, Oingo, has a stand which allows him to reshape his body in a way that enables him to take on the appearance of whomever he chooses. You would think that together these two stands can be extremely effective, and since Oingo and Boingo are brothers who are used to working as a team, you wouldn't be blamed for thinking that these two could potentially cause a lot of trouble for our heroes, the Stardust Crusaders. Alas, it was not to be, as the Oingo Boingo brothers proved to be utterly useless as villains, so much so that the Crusaders didn't even realize that they were being targeted by these two. They were pretty much defeated without the heroes even knowing that they defeated them. And you may think that this makes these two brothers just a couple of terrible and ineffective villains who are not even worth remembering. Especially since JoJo's Part 3 threw so many different villains at us within a short period of time. But if that's what you think, you couldn't be more wrong. The Oingo Boingo episodes are probably the funniest episodes in all of Part 3 because of the hilarious hijinks that ensue every time that Oingo and Boingo try to carry out one of their bizarre schemes. They start by using Boingo's stand to see what will happen in the future, and then they actively try to facilitate those events. However, their interpretations of these fated future events usually end up being way off the mark and in hilarious fashion, resulting in such unforgettable scenes as Oingo putting 5 lit cigarettes into his mouth while impersonating Jotaro, or Whole Horse sticking his fingers up Polnareff's nose. Oingo and Boingo might be useless as villains, but boy are they great as characters, and Part 3 of JoJo's just wouldn't have been the same without these two epic gamers. Next, let's talk about everyone's least favorite anime waifu, the obsessive, unstable, and wonderfully insane pop idol Misa Amane, aka Misa Misa from Death Note. Now, Death Note is famous for not having obvious heroes and villains, and a major theme of the series is the true meaning of justice. But no matter which side of the Light vs. L conflict you're on, I think we can all agree that Misa Misa is a villain. If you're on Team L, then Misa is clearly a villain because she is the second Kira, a criminal who is willing to kill without remorse. And if you're on Team Light, you might be tempted to think that Misa is on your side because she worships the original Kira and she falls in love with Light, but the truth is that Misa creates more problems for Light than probably anyone else aside from L himself. She worships Kira because he punished the man who killed her parents when the courts failed to do so, and she is so desperate to make contact with Kira that she becomes the second Kira just to get his attention. Her careless actions provide the authorities, and L in particular, with valuable information about the true nature of Kira's supernatural abilities. And after that, Misa continues to make problems for Light by being obsessive, naive, immature, and jealous. I've heard many fans of Death Note complain about Misa's character in general, and as a villain she certainly makes a lot of stupid mistakes that put her beloved Kira in direct danger. But not so fast. As annoying as Misa can be, we cannot deny that she is a fairly early example of a quality yandere character. Yes, she is insane and obsessive to the extent of nearly ruining everything for Light, but that is precisely the point of her character. Misa is a great representation of what being in a relationship with a real yandere would actually look like. I mean, yeah, having a waifu who loves you so much that she would kill for you without hesitation might sound pretty cool at first. But actually being with such an emotionally unstable girl, no matter how cute and goth she is more trouble than you realize. Sure, she might shower you with endless love and flattery, but she is also unhinged, reckless, impulsive, obsessively jealous, and outright dangerous to everyone around her, including you. We can call her a useless villain, we can call her an annoying character, but I would definitely not call her a bad character. I think her overall character arc works really well when we look at Misa for what she is, and when we take into consideration her entire life story, including her tragic past, her demanding career which requires her to constantly be in the spotlight, her childish personality, and so on. When you look at all these factors together, it's clear to me that she is a well-written character despite being a terrible villain. And not to mention that without a cute girl character like Misa, we would have had pretty much no fan service in Death Note whatsoever. Which is kind of why the writer of Death Note decided to include her in the first place. I mean, sure, we all love Death Note because it is a great psychological thriller that features an epic showdown between two brilliant strategists. But would this series really be as good without a cute goth girl in stockings? Maybe, probably, but still, stockings. And finally, at least as far as this video is concerned, let's talk about the one and only Lord Twigo Sama Sensei Senpai from the 7 Deadly Sins. At first glance, Lord Twigo appears like your average run-of-the-mill minor villain who annoys the main characters for a little while and then ends up accidentally killing himself by consuming demon blood. You may think that this is exactly why I'm including Lord Twigo in this video, but you would be wrong. Everyone who is familiar with the expansive lore of the Lord Twigo memeverse knows that the only reason why I would include Lord Twigo in a list of useless villains is because Twigo is not a villain at all. He is useless as a villain, because his true role is far greater than the role of any single villain or hero could ever play. Lord Twigo's true purpose surpasses worlds and dimensions, and he cannot be boxed in by such simplistic characterizations as villain or hero. Much like his disciple Prince Clovis from Code Geass, Lord Twigo tricks us into believing that he is just a one-note villain character who gets offed at the beginning of the story. But the clues to his true role and purpose are everywhere. Could any man with a mustache as glorious as Twigo's ever be a minor, useless villain? No. His Excellency Lord Twigo is useless as a villain only in as much as he is much more than a villain in the first place. And this is why I had to include him in this video. Not for myself, but for all of those viewers who may not be familiar with the deep lore and mind-opening philosophy of Twigo and his followers, who are affectionately known as Twigoslavians. So I hope you enjoyed this deep analysis, and if you want me to do another video on useless but still beloved villains, be sure to like and share this video, and comment your suggestions for useless villains that you want me to talk about down in the comments. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my other useless uploads. I want to give a huge thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for supporting our work and making our work possible. A special thank you to all of our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, King Zeldris, and Angel Cruz. Another massive thank you to our The One tier patrons, the ones who stand above all other clans, including Baby Ray, Ace, Ingrata, Alolanadam, Maddie Mac, Makotakun, and Keelan. And finally, at the very pinnacle of interdimensional greatness, a tier reserved only for legends. A massive thank you to Reagan Harrison and Lord Nuxanor, disciples of Lord Twigo himself. If you feel that our content provides value for you and you want to support more, be sure to check out our Patreon, link in the description. Even a single $1 will give you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these amazing people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.